Testing, 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 testing. Hopefully music's not too loud. Change up the background a little. So the background's a little bit too classic. Hey, Candace. Like, it's my first time doing a live here on YouTube, so if my mic sounds a little crazy or anything like that, please feel free to let me know. I have no idea how it sounds. I probably should have done a test prior, but you know life goes. Sometimes there's a lack of giving a fuck sometimes. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. I'd be more than happy to answer. Make sure this thing has some good thickness to it, some good girth. Because basically what I'm planning on doing is, so I have a feeling my buddy's probably going to be watching this, and supposed to be a kind of like a birthday present for one of my good friends. He's got 2 twin boys, and I kind of wanted to do basically like 2 fish in a bottle, and the octopus is guarding it, mostly because he actually has a sleeve that I did a long time ago of an octopus on his arm with like a bunch of skulls, and I figured it'd be kind of nice to kind of do something for him and his boys and all that. So I want to do something kind of like the octopus is guarding the 2 fish in the bottle, keeping them safe. So just trying to find like a nice position for composition and just overall aesthetics really. Trying to figure out which pose I want, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to more than likely buy a frame for him and present it already kind of like done and printed and the whole thing. I think it'd be kind of cute for him. So I'm trying to figure out like overall layout. I think this is fine. Just gotta get the tentacles to wrap around, or at least appear to wrap around nice, because this will be generally the position I want to put it in. So I gotta make sure the tentacles look like they're actually grabbing it, which will be a little bit of a pain in the butt, but hopefully it shouldn't be too bad. But we'll figure it out. And these will be the fishies I'll be putting in there. This one I actually bought on sketchfab.com. Pretty awesome little site. Usually you can find a lot of stuff. Sometimes you find a lot of like good free stuff too, which obviously is definitely nice. And if we touch here, let me see, bend arc, bend curve. Which one do I want to do? Let's try bend arc. Go ahead and delete lower. Let's see if this one does what I want to do. There we go. Cool. I just gotta make sure it doesn't get squished. Yeah, so right now, to be honest, man, it's all about aesthetics, really. It's really what I'm looking more for. So I want the 2 fish to be kind of like swimming together, almost like they're circling one another, being the fact that they're twins. That we're doing this for, I think it'd be kind of cool. Yeah, bend arc is really cool because you can get some really silly, crazy shapes out of it. I'll squish him down a little bit. I feel like he's elongated too far. I'm going to be using a lot of shortcut keys for the most part, so if anybody's wondering what the hell are the buttons I throw, feel free to ask. I'd be more than happy to answer. You know, the funny part is that a lot of this kind of sort of doesn't make a lot of sense until it gets to the render part. Because like for example, the bottle, I do want it to obviously be clear, but we won't get that in ZBrush. That we have to use kind of like an external renderer. My renderer of choice is Keyshot. Keyshot has some really cool LED effects. Folks usually use it for like for jewelry and all sorts of really cool stuff. In this case, 2 fishes in the bottle. And roll credits. Just trying to fix the overall proportions. Good part is, well, this I could kind of just go into Photoshop once it's all done and kind of do my corrections there. I'm not super crazy about certain things. So usually for the most part I don't get really too married to it, considering I do all this for the final 2D, and I kind of just use 3D to kind of help me out as far as like shape it. It's not really something I care too much about, the overall geometry and all that stuff, so let's bring this guy way down. And you know what, I'm going to leave him right there for the meantime. I'm going to close them out. Let's go back to the octopus. So I have to merge these layers down. So I think it's their own polygroups, so it'll be easy to separate later. I merge the butts. Actually, that's a really cool color. Huh. That doesn't look half bad. Okay, so let's see here. So yeah, so this one I actually put together for a tattoo I did a while back. It's actually on my Instagram. Almost done with that particular tattoo. We still have the pirate portion of it missing. Once that part is done, I'll be posting the actual full picture. But this one's actually meant for that. But that's where 3D comes in handy, because I can kind of use components of things that I've already made and basically kind of, you know, utilize it for what we did now, which is the reason why I push 3D a lot. Like onto other artists, all that stuff, tattoo artists, just because it really helps you with the overall design, and it's nice to be able to generate like pieces that are custom to a client, which I think is really, really important. And nowadays the industry is so overwhelmed with so many tattoo artists, you know, good at, you know, big and small, you know, from the talented to the getting more talented as the days go on. So it's one of those kind of things where it's good to kind of separate yourself from the mold, just because it's like, you know, you gotta separate yourself. You gotta make a name for yourself. At least that's the point, I guess. At least I assume. So that's the point for almost everybody too. Yeah, so when it comes to the pushing and bending and pushing and bending, it's just a lot of kind of like little tweaks here and there until you finally get it to where you want it to be. And then sometimes you delete the whole thing and start all over and start from scratch because you fucking hate it. And then you just gotta deal and just do it again, do it again, do it again. Another thing I love about ZBrush is the amount of undo you can store. Actually, that pose is actually pretty good. Let me see. Oh, funny. Yeah, Bentley does. Yeah, one thing I didn't realize is sometimes it's a good idea to, every time you move, instead of constantly moving, it's not a bad idea to sometimes kind of like reposition in the pose you want it, to see what that did. Because I know for sure this will be the pose. So because I know that for sure, it makes life a little simpler. That's right there, I see. These suckers can be a real pain in the ass sometimes. If you're going to be doing like some crazy transformations to it, it's good to mask the entire sucker. Because of the tentacle, it doesn't matter. Yeah, at the end of the day, it's a tentacle. It could be as misshapen as you want it to be. Sometimes these suckers can get a little crazy, so it's good to kind of adjust accordingly. Now, hopefully, this fucking thing does not decide to crash while I'm doing a live. That is the only one ultimate downside with 3D modeling sometimes. It has a tendency of crashing. So you're always going to get the habit of saving, and saving some more. Again, like I said earlier, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. I'll be more than happy to answer. After all, that is what I am here for. I'll probably redo some of these, especially this little guy right here. It's a little busted. All these twisting and turning from design. Oh, and also the this octopus actually. So it started off as a file that I bought online. Because for the most part, when it comes to 3D designing for tattoos, being the fact that obviously our main moneymaker is the tattoo, not so much the design. The design we're doing because we want to be extra and we want to have a piece that is unique from other tattoo designs and this and that, and kind of their own twist to it. But the best way to go about workflow, in my opinion, sometimes is to buy designs or models that are already pre-modeled. So basically, they kind of just look good already, type of thing. So you don't have to sit there and spend hours and hours and hours modeling, especially being the fact that it's for the 2D end result. So for example, this one was one that I bought on turbosquid.com, and then I basically used it as a base mesh. Base mesh being similar to like a base sketch, I guess you can call it, or a rough sketch, sort of, kind of treated it as. To then kind of reshape it to something that I wanted to use for the given tattoo I was doing, for the pose that I wanted, for the leg piece that was going on, and stuff like that. So it's never a bad thing to use models or a pre-done. So I don't think there's any kind of, if you're changing it completely, from so much from what it was, I don't think there's any issues as far as legality is concerned. If there is, definitely please let me know. I'm doing it wrong for a minute, but if not, for the most part, for the tattooing, because we're not really going to be turning this into an animation. We're not turning this into anything other than literally a render. I don't think there's any issues, and like I said, it saves a boatload of time. I can't even begin to describe the amount of time I've saved by using pre-done models for the design aspect. And then basically we have something that's already almost good to go. That all we have to do is kind of just do little modifications, little changes, and pretty much then good to go. Like for example, one of the first designs I did on ZBrush for a tattoo was a St. Michael I designed. She's been tattooed a few times, not for myself, but from others I've seen online. And that one I designed from complete and total scratch. It took me almost 2 months to put together. I think the only part that wasn't from scratch per se was the initial base model of the male, which was one of the default male figures that ZBrush comes with. I think it's like Demo Soldier or something like that. And everything else is completely done 100% from scratch, and it took 2 months to do. The amount must have been at least 2 or 3 hours at a time here and there. And if we're thinking about efficiency, obviously that is definitely the opposite of efficient, because you'll then do the tattoo, and obviously the amount that you earn or gain from the tattoo is nothing in comparison to the amount of time devoted. Which, like I said, it's fine and dandy, and once you get the hang of it, it doesn't take so long. Like I said, it was one of my first ones, so it's probably why I struggled so much in the very beginning. But definitely the amount that you earn in the tattoo versus the amount of time you take to do a piece completely from scratch, it's almost like it doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't correlate. It just doesn't make, one doesn't add to the other. You're literally doing it for fun. Stupid fucking ads. Let's see here. There you go. So yeah, so starting with a model that's already pre-done, even if it's pieces of a model, it doesn't have to be the exact same one. Although you do get lucky sometimes. But because we're not looking for the exact model, just somewhere to begin. And once you have somewhere to begin, dude, it's like, it's so much easier. It makes life the simplest thing on the planet when it comes to 3D modeling for tattooing. You know, like I said, it comes with its ups and downs, all that stuff, but at the end of the day, when you're able to generate pieces that are 100% unique, 100% custom designed per client, so much so to the point where, I mean, it does end up getting copies. At the end of the day, anything you put on the internet will end up getting done or tattooed by somebody else, which, you know, I mean, it's kind of like you can't get mad about, because at the end of the fucking day, if you decided to put it online, don't get butthurt when it happens, because, you know, if you're the type to get butthurt when it happens, you probably shouldn't have posted it. And if you say that, oh, you know, if I don't post it, nobody's gonna see it. Well, if somebody sees it and they like it, they might get a tattoo by somebody else. And it's just kind of how it is. So it's the yin to the yang, so to speak, the double-edged sword that we have to all deal with. And like I said, you know, if you don't like it, you can, you know, always delete your internet and never go online again and just hide away from the world. Or just learn that it's just a part of, you know, the nature of it all. And, you know, there will be those clients that, you know, appreciate the hell out of it and appreciate all the hard work you put into it and all that stuff. And there'll be those that, you know, really just look at it as a simple JPEG or a simple design online and just take it and, you know, tattoo it themselves and don't even give a shit what else happens. And that's fine too, because at the end of the day, I mean, that's, your name is out there or your work is out there. People do like it enough to get a tattoo, which in itself is really cool. But yeah, I got kind of carried away. I have no idea where I was going with that. But I kind of figured, you know, it's like I said, it's, you put it on the internet, don't get butthurt when it gets copied. It's gonna get copied. And hey, that no better confirmation that you did a good job if it gets copied. That's for damn fucking sure. Because if it doesn't ever get copied, that means probably nobody gives a shit. So fuck it, it happens, it happens. Thanks, Noah. I appreciate it, man. And do whenever you're ready, dude. I try to make it as simple as possible as far as scheduling is concerned. For the most part, everything's kind of like out there on my website for folks to schedule whenever they're ready. So, dude, whenever the time comes, man, you let me know. We'll make it happen. Where there's a will, there is a way. Oh, by the way, guys, let me know if the mic sounds good, because I haven't done any tests, which I probably should have, but I kind of just got carried away. Push these guys a little further in. Some of them are literally sticking out of the body. Okay, this one's the one that's fucking killing me. But I'll take care of them later. I'm not gonna really worry about this yet. And these guys too. These guys are like fucking like Play-Doh stuck onto it. Definitely looking a little tupe. Echo says tentacle's looking pretty cool, except for that one annoying motherfucking tentacle. So let's see here. Okay. Let's go ahead and mask this guy again. Oops. Let's try to nudge him over. Oops, see dizzy. There you go. Yeah, if you do the topology move, it will grab, because these polygons are separated. All the suckers are their own group, and the body is its own group. If if you do move topology, it would just grab one section or one polygroup. Definitely not what we want. We want to try to move them all together. Ideally, not ruining the nice little curvature we have going on here. So if we raise the focal shift, should grab as much of it as possible. This tentacle down here, and I'll probably move around and shift. That sucks. Let's see here. Oh, this geometry now I have to fix like a motherfucker. That shit was crazy. Let's see. Maybe I should push them over. Hey Steve, not sure if you're still on, but software I'm using is ZBrush. ZBrush I pretty much use for pretty much the majority of all my stuff. There are a couple handful of other programs I use whenever I'm doing any kind of figures or let's say like some skeleton poses or stuff like that. I use this one program that's free. It's called DAZ Studio. Now it's free but with a catch. The catch is that the software is free. The only problem is that everything else you have to pay for. So essentially all the content, pretty much things like that, you have to pay for everything else. And I want to say that's the only like real pain in the ass. Other than that, DAZ Studio is pretty fucking awesome, except for one very weird part, which I'm not sure many people kind of pay attention to or care about. There's this weird, creepy vibe with the way that they kind of describe the models, almost like they're like sexy people, like actual live people, which is a bit weird. But you know, whatever gets people's socks off, you know, whatever makes them come at night, I suppose. But definitely one of the weirder things about it. But other than, if you can get over that, I mean, it's amazing. There's a lot of great models that are, you know, pre-done, pre-shapen, and the whole thing that work fabulously for just about fucking anything you need, which is pretty cool, in my opinion. But usually, for the most part, ZBrush is my go-to. It is the one that whatever I start in, it'll be the one I finish in, because of the amount of play that you have in ZBrush. It's like nothing compares. It's amazing. You can texture this thing. Like all these textures are done in ZBrush. Like on the rock, it's all done in ZBrush. The textures for the octopus are all done in ZBrush. I like using the actual geometry versus, let's say, for example, you have programs like Cinema 4D where you use a lot of like materials or like basically, let's see, what's the way I can describe it without using too many like super duper technical terms. It's kind of like a text, like when you're in Photoshop and you're using text, like you're typing up with text, and how it's a smart file or a smart layer, and you can constantly change it and stuff. Essentially, it's really nothing. Like it's like a very simple design, and then you kind of put like a costume on it, so to speak, which gives you the same like kind of like light effects and things like that. But one thing that's really nice about doing it in ZBrush is that you can really put it exactly where you want the textures to be at, which I think is like one of the coolest aspects of it. Sometimes those other programs, it's very kind of like procedurally generated, in the sense where it's kind of like by numbers. So sometimes, unless you get that number dialed just right, you can't really get it exactly where you want it, which can sometimes be a bit of the struggle. Let's see if I can't. I'll see by moving around so much. Yeah, just go ahead and keep it kind of so. Oh, cool. Yeah, yeah. John. Is he Giancarlo? Yeah, Giancarlo. I think his name was. No, super, super duper nice guy. He was a really, really nice dude. Ooh, actually, let me go ahead and save this really quick because it's acting a little funny, and when it starts acting a little funny, it usually means it's gonna crash, and that's not good. Go ahead and save this really quick. But yeah, no, Giancarlo was a super cool guy. For his first tattoo, the motherfucker sat like a champ. Let me tell you, I'm super excited to see that thing all healed up. Hope I run into him in Wildwood when I go over there in August. Yeah, he was definitely. Yeah, that's kind of my thing. My thing is, dude, it's like I don't like. I've had people like try to like offer me a lot of money to get squeezed in, or the case is. I could give a fuck less. For me, the most important part is just good company. Because I'm gonna be stuck with your ass for like the next 7, 8 hours. I mean, if I hate you, it's gonna suck. So it's like there's nothing better in this world than working on someone that is good company. It's like pretty much every tattoo should develop a friend or a friendship at some point. I think it's kind of like my goal for the most part. As incredibly fucking cheesy as that sounds. That's what I like to call the My Little Pony complex. Princess of friendship and all. Okay, that's cool. All right, so two fish are going to be in the bottle. Now they're going to look like they're glowing. So I know I'm going to print this out for my buddy in a 13 by 19. So it's going to be kind of like this like rectangular box shape. So for the most part, all that's going to fit in there. So I need to make sure that the tentacles don't take up the room. I want to call it, because if it does, it's gonna like kill the whole thing, and that's gonna suck. So let me see, because most of these tentacles in the back won't be visible. Let's see, trying to decide how I want to go about this. Let's see if I twist around this bottom tentacle. It's probably gonna be super duper ugly, because this is really just gonna kind of like test it out. So literally, it's just kind of like putting it right in the center ish. And then let's get back to the pose. Seal with the bottle and twisty 10. It's funny, I have a feeling that my buddy that I'm doing this for, he's gonna be watching. I'm gonna be like, fucking turn that shit off, you motherfucker. Try to give you a surprise birthday party. Or a surprise birthday present. So I have a feeling it's gonna get ruined, or the surprise is gonna get ruined, but whatever. He'll like it nonetheless, which is pretty cool. Yeah, actually, dude, Steve, if you go on my Instagram, I had posted this as a black and gray octopus piece. It's actually gonna be a pirate sleeve for lower leg. Like I was kind of describing earlier, one of the coolest parts about using 3D is that we can kind of use past models and generate brand new designs with them. So, like for example, that octopus that's in there is technically this same octopus But because it's in 3D, I can kind of like rearrange it to make it something completely new. Which is the reason why I try to push 3D as much as possible onto tattoo artists, so that they kind of basically kind of see the benefits of kind of like taking the time to learn the program. Because once you get the benefits, man, and you see like how cool it can be to generate your own references and all that stuff, dude, you can't go back. Like there's so many times where like I'm like, fuck, man, like if I just grab a bunch of pictures online and just put this thing together, it'd be really quick and the client would be happy and, you know, go on to the tattoo, make some money, call it a day. But it's like when you get the time to sit down and create it like this, you can create something completely brand new that isn't your typical copycat thing you see online. Yeah, dude. Rhino actually haven't used, man. I gotta give it a shot. Um, there's a lot of fucking dope ass programs out there, man. There's so many good ones. There's Blender, Maya. My problem with Maya and all that stuff is I believe Maya is, or is that 3D Max? That's owned by Adobe now. It's all that monthly subscription crap, and it's like, I don't know. I bought ZBrush before they started doing their monthly subscriptions, and I just like the freedom of not having to worry about that. I don't know if Rhino is the same. I haven't taken a look as far as its price point's concerned. Yeah, I think that tentacle's good for now. I'll turn him a little. First, I know I definitely want to use this guy. So I figure out how I want to use him. Actually, I might not use him too much because he's kind of like covering a lot of the bottle. I'm actually probably focus more on the bottom too. But it would be a bad idea to keep those. Yeah, I kind of get the whole subscription thing. From the business perspective, it makes perfect sense. And to be honest, it's not terrible, especially for like somebody who's like starting off. I mean, it's a great way to kind of like test the water, see if you like it. Like I think ZBrush, I think their subscription, I think it's like $40 a month or something like that. And I remember when I first started doing ZBrush and trying to convince tattoo artists to use it, it was a really hard pill for them to swallow that the program was $1,000, and then with the bundle of Keyshot, it was like another $400. So yeah, I get it. That it was expensive, but at least now there's like at least like another way they can get their hands on it and kind of give it a test drive, see if they like it, and kind of just go from there. Now I don't ever want to say or call myself like a 3D like super 3D literate like artist or anything like that, because I kind of like learn through YouTube and all that stuff. But because I'm using all this for the 2D aspect, I feel like there's a lot of tattoo artists that can kind of utilize it for the same thing, if that makes any sense. And I would love to get into kind of like seminars or teaching, stuff like that. Anything to kind of just generally help. And at the end of the day, I'm getting a little old, so it will get to the point where if you can't do, you teach, and I will get into those later years when my back's gonna start killing me. Thankfully, I'm not there yet, but it's only a matter of time. So, what a better way to secure a retirement, so to speak, than teaching? And it is something I do enjoy doing, so I don't think I'll mind it too much. What up, Giancarlo? How's it going, buddy? Yeah, you gotta send me a picture. I'm dying to see how it's healing. I love seeing black and gray like evolve in the healing stage. Trying to see if aesthetically if I like this or not. So I'm not sure if I'm super crazy about it. Sweet. Yeah, no rush, man. If you're beginning or for bed or whatever the case is, you know, always send it to me in the morning. Probably gonna be taking a smoke break in a little. So I'm gonna get this generally set up. Let me see. Try to decide where I want to put this tentacle. I think I might probably just leave him how he was. Maybe just rotate him a little. There we go. Dope, Giancarlo. Looks like let's get a pretty good heal for the most part. Very, very cool. Yeah, I think it still has a little bit more to go, and then it should be fully healed. Definitely dope, dude. Thank you so much for flying down, man. I really, really appreciate that. It's so cool. And it's still something that blows my mind. That folks are willing to do, so much to come down and get pieces done. It's, not to sound corny or nothing, but it's fucking humbling as hell. Definitely cool. Where is the pose that I want? Here we go. I think I'm now finding something good. Thank you, dude. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you and everybody, man. It's cool. Let me see if I have this tentacle fall out of the frame. Because I almost want to do something where the two fishes inside the bottle are glowing, almost like you would, let's say like you're in the country and you grab some glowworms or those glow bugs and put them in a jar and he's kind of like watching them. And I want it to be kind of like a really dark lit scene, almost kind of like he's using the fish to kind of like light his way in the deep, almost like a symbiosis. And for that glass effect, I gotta make sure that I don't mind it touching, but it's not touching so much. It's like too much. So it's gonna give like a very odd effect when all the light effects come in. When I pass it over to Keyshot. So yeah, the one thing I wish that ZBrush had, that like a lot of the other competitor programs have, is a collision detector or like a collision thing. Blender has this cool thing where like if you turn on gravity and you press play on the timeline, it'll actually do this like basically gravity, almost like the object drops, and it's kind of like a cool way to kind of separate, from things touching one another. You can give things certain effects. It's pretty neat. See if that music is stepped. Oh, I love this song. I'm gonna put it up just a little bit because it's so good. That's why, man, this song has been in so many like awesome 3D animations. There's one it was in, I can't remember for the life of me, but it was such a good, oh, it was just amazing. It was like a old man going through life, like getting old, getting young, like going from young to old. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous video. Cannot remember for the life and what the name of it was. It's my favorite part about 3D modeling for 2D for the end result of 2D. Your model starts to look like complete shit just to get this one pose. This is like, I'm sure any 3D designer that's looking at this is probably like, what the fuck? Ruining the fucking geometry. This shit looks crazy. And I'm like, hey, slow your roll. It's only for this one pose. Ain't nobody gonna notice when it's flat or it's 2D. Because usually, for the most part, you know, like at the end of the day, if it doesn't generate the right light source, kind of don't really care, because I can just go in there and Photoshop and just kind of like correct it. So at the end of the day, like I said, this is more for getting a good base. Ooh, let's see what's going on here. All right, so you didn't want to get silly. So yeah, it's more for just getting a good base going and stuff like that. So that's really all that matters. look a little crazy when I turn this. I guess what I'm doing is bring this tentacle over a little, but it's going to do that to over here. But like I said, no matter for the 2D. This is not for the 3D, this is more for the 2D. So basically meaning that it's perfectly fine for it to look batshit crazy. Because I'm not making a video game out of this, I'm not doing anything other than literally printing this out for my buddy's birthday. Because that's what buddies do. Spend hours and hours on 3D modeling for a 2D thingy. So friends are for it, right? Dude, you can't not go wrong with classical music, I swear to God. Oh, hey. Did that mean change? used to have a classical music vibe. It was the original dubstep. Dubstep wasn't invented until 18 something, and these guys were the originals. In case anybody was wondering, that's what I'm listening to. I'm definitely into dubstep so long as it's 1890, 1805 dubstep. That's my kind of dubstep. It's funny. Suckers to me always look like big old Oreos. Or like fuck, what's the name of the cereal? Turn off this ad really quick. Cheerios. There we go. Cheerios. That's what I'm going to say. Suckers to me always look like Cheerios. time for the fishies. So for this one, let's go into transparent mode and shove his ass right into the ball. This actually might help if I turn off everything else. Moss, and turns octopus, and the shipwreck stuff. That stuff I'm going to organize later. I'm not going to worry about that just yet. So fishing number 1. Let's make a copy of him. Hold on Control and drag out, and that literally makes a copy of whatever is masked. So like I said, because I'm doing this for a buddy that has 2 twin boys, I want to do it where the 2 fishes are kind of like swimming inside the bottle, looking as though the octopus, being Daddy, is protecting them. Or another way to kind of do the story is as if the octopus is going deeper and deeper into the ocean, and these little 2 glowfish are helping the octopus guide its way. Similar to once you have children, they kind of help you become better as you grow up, as they grow up. It's kind of like a symbolism for the both. And the stretching process, this one got a little crazy. Yeah, that's a good pose for those 2 little fishies. Should be about center. Alright, cool. So they're going to hide out in there. Alright, get rid of the transparent. You're going to basically disappear as we get inside of there. Don't be visible anymore, so... Let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I think it's going to look really, really cool when it's printed out and framed. Alright guys, I am passing the fuck out. So, I will be leaving you here, and I shall be taking a picture of this later when I am completed. So to all of yous, I hope you all have a good night. I hope it's been fun watching. Thank you all for joining, and hopefully I'll do this as much as possible. And yeah, we'll see you guys then. Peace out.